Hello, my internet friends, and welcome to the Waking Dreamer. One of the suggestions I received for the last video I did, my reflections on the Jenny and Screech tales I did yesterday. Some people, even one email, asked me to react to and take a look at Ren's 1 million subscribers defining success. So here I am. It's a 5-minute video. As far as I can see, it's not a song. It's just him, his thoughts, and something he wrote. As far as I could determine from the description that you folks gave me. Before I take a listen, just to let you know, we are having live streams Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on Discord. So take a looky. Down below there's a link. And we do live streams 20:00 Central European Time. So that's British time +1. So join us. Lots of good music. There's always The Warning. There's always Ren on the menu. And a lot of other great musicians like Angelina Jordan and Dimash Kudaibergen, Diana Kudinova, and lots of newer rock bands that people always suggest. And now, let's see. Let's see what Ren has to say. Oh, I always have to focus when he's talking, because it's full of meaning, and there's not a single sentence that's just thrown in there for nothing. Let's listen.
Keep this short and sweet because I wrote something that I want to share with you. But first of all, I just want to say how grateful I am. I've reached 1 million subscribers on YouTube, which is a flipping huge milestone. I wanted to say thank you to everyone who supported my music over the years, whether you're newly on board or have been here for a while. I wanted to say thank you to the YouTube reaction community who have gotten behind my stuff in a big way and really helped me reach this goal. So thank you guys. I wanted to read this passage that I wrote about success. It's too much for me to remember right now, so bear with me. But yeah, success to me means that I have a responsibility that transcends me. If I have a platform where people are paying attention, then I feel like it's my duty to make that count. It's far more important than my aspirations with music and what I could personally gain. There's a saying that stuck with me recently, which was a rising tide lifts all ships. Somehow, by finding success for myself has meant that I can find success.
A rising tide lifts all ships. Oh, interesting. Oh, I think I'll be turning this back like 50 times during the next 4 minutes. So be patient, folks.
That transcends me. If I have a platform where people are paying attention, then I feel like it's my duty to make that count. It's far more important than my aspirations with music and what I could personally gain. There's a saying that stuck with me recently, which was a rising tide lifts all ships. Somehow, by finding success for myself has meant that I can find success for the people around me, and that makes me feel very rich. I'm in a very strange position right now where I owe much.
Wow. This is I don't know how many of you are familiar. So, what everyone should know, there was this person who is, for God knows which reason, celebrated as an inventor. He was a common thief. So you probably heard of Thomas Edison. He was a pickpocketer. He was the common thief of the community of those who wanted to discover and invent. The common thief of the community of inventors. The only invention that can that can be tied to him in a reliable way is the electric chair. Everything else, he stole other people's patents and other people's ideas. So when people celebrate Thomas Edison, it's when he is mentioned like a great inventor, it drives me bloody insane. It's like, read something, thief, common thief. And how does this tie to Ren? Why are we talking about Edison? Oh, there was this guy, everyone knows about him, Nikola Tesla. And when he was asked, like in his old age, does he regret not being smarter with his patents and securing his inventions so other people don't steal his ideas. He basically said, it never saddened me that they stole my ideas. The only thing that made me sad was that they didn't have any ideas of their own. And that was like, and he was not saying it sarcastically. It was honesty. His inventions were not there to make him famous or make him a center of attention. He just wanted to contribute to the society, you know. So to him, it wasn't about the patents and but the money. It was about improving the world, and that kind of altruistic humanity at its best is what it reminded me of Ren here, because such people who are in the same time both altruistic in such a way and incredibly competent at something, like Ren is in writing music. They're 1 in a billion or 1 in 5 billion. So that's why I came to this, because he is in the world of music, he's a Nikola Tesla, you know. He's a altruistic guy who is creating and trying to make everything better. So it's wow. You know, my mind always finds connections where it's, I don't know, to me it makes sense to compare it. Don't know about you guys.
Much of my success to the most destructive force in my life, which has been the turbulence of my physical and mental illness. The thing that has by far brought me the most pain has been a source of constant inspiration, which ironically led to creations which brought me the most joy. Creating art which means something to somebody else and can potentially be a companion to somebody else in the dark justifies my own pain, and I desperately needed that to be justified. There are a lot of people alive today who live in the dark. It's a place that I'm very familiar with.
Oh, I have to turn this. I have to.
Joy. Creating art which means something to somebody else and can potentially be a companion to somebody else in the dark justifies my own pain, and I desperately needed that to be justified.
Holy crap! That's like misery loves company, yeah. So if you show others what's inside of you, perhaps they will not remain in their solitude. Yeah, sorry folks, this is so potent and so rich with meaning, every single sentence, that I have to I just have to word per word.
It's an inspiration, which ironically led to creations which brought me the most joy. Creating art which means something to somebody else and can potentially be a companion to somebody else in the dark justifies my own pain, and I desperately needed that to be justified. There are a lot of people alive today who live in the dark. It's a place that I'm very familiar with. In the peak of my health problems, I was severely underweight. All my meals had to be restricted and blended, and I was so tired that I couldn't participate in life. I couldn't socialize, I couldn't watch films, I couldn't read. My bones constantly hurt. Even standing in the shower was excruciating and exhausting. And this went on for years, with no answers. Nobody could have ever convinced me during that time that my pain and suffering would be a source for something good, because it felt insidious.
Holy shit. Oh, there's this Canadian psychiatrist I imagine almost everyone is familiar with, and before I even mentioned his name, I do not agree with many of the things that on his political views. I don't want to get into the political views, not by a long shot, but he does sometimes give some psychological advice that I have found helpful. So the person in question is Jordan Peterson, and once how do I, because it reminds me something that he said. He was asked on a like a conference, or it was a Q&A or something. I have to, sorry, I have to focus. The depth of my consciousness uh, causes me to suffer beyond what I can, uh, beyond what I can accept, something like that. Is it a blessing or a curse to feel everything so deeply? That was the question that Peterson was asked, and he replied, "The only way out is through. Drink more of that poisons you until it becomes a tonic that girdles the world around you." So that's like, I found that to be like a very interesting advice, and I took it. And it seems like Ren also was able to go down that path and just accept all the pain and all the hardship that he was going through, and he just pushed through it, and he is still pushing through it, because the only way out is through it. You know, the only way out is through it. And wow, holy, oh, such a profound person. You know, Ren is such a turn this this 5 minute uh letter, 4 minute letter that he has is like, I'm going to be listening to it for 20 minutes or so. Oh, I just have to focus because it's all, you know, it's compounded. You know, Nietzsche said, I can write in a sentence what other people can't write in a book, what others actually cannot even write in a book. So he was like, that was like pure narcissism, but he was also right. He was absolutely right on that. And Ren feels the same way. Like, he can, in a 4 minute video, basically, that he is writing, he can condense tons and tons of meaning. So I have to like focus and listen to every word and turn back and think on it a little. If you ever read Nietzsche, it's like that. You have a page, then you read the page, and then you like reread it like 5 times, and then you dwell on it, and then you have to work your mind over it.
Shower was excruciating and exhausting, and this went on for years, with no answers. Nobody could have ever convinced me during that time that my pain and suffering would be a source for something good, because it felt insidious. Nobody could have ever convinced me that something constructive can come from hurting every day. But I'm here to tell you that if you are hurting every day, don't be afraid. One thing I know to be a certain, to be a constant law of the universe, is that life is inconsistent. Life is beautiful and life is hideous. Life is kind and life is cruel. Dancing inside this dichotomy and inconsistency makes me know that you won't hurt forever, whether that comes from resolution of what you're going through or acceptance of where you are. You won't hurt forever. You don't know yet whether or not your pain conceals gold.
He's just a wonderful man, wonderful human being. Inspiration, really inspiration. So, it's. I really hope he gets better. I know he's in treatment now again. Something stem cell. Something about stem cell treatment, if I read correctly. That should, I hope, provide him with some help. I read a year ago that that's like a big promise for the future in medicine. I want to read Ren songs for another 50, 60 years. I don't know if I'll be here in 50, 60 years, but you get my drift.
It definitely conceals wisdom, and it's definitely a catalyst for filling you with empathy. So stand strong, my friends, and don't let the darkness consume you, because once you know the dark and become intimate with it, you become very capable of wielding the light. You could be instrumental for changing this world for the better. There's nothing humble about shrinking or doubting yourself because you are large. You can be ferocious and you could be magnificent. For the medical industry, who too often let people fall through the cracks, it's your duty to do better. For the people living in the light, who have either stepped out of their shadow or have never had to walk beside it, it's your responsibility to put out untainted love. Our own greed, desire to ferociously expand, and decisions rooted in self-interest can benefit ourselves in a material sense, but can be very destructive to the hive and the world around us, ultimately hurting ourselves. So we really must consider that if we're going to step into a bright future. As humans, we have an incredible potential, and it would be a shame to throw it away. So community, humanity, and changing our relationship with the natural world so it leans more towards homeostasis must be a priority. Priority number one.
Wow, this is like a blueprint for life, you know? Little more back. He condensed like tons of information and tons of advice and everything and wisdom in. So I have to, part by part, think it over.
For the medical industry, who too often let people fall through the cracks, it's your duty to do better. For the people living in the light, who have either stepped out of their shadow or have never had to walk beside it, it's your responsibility to put out untainted love. Our own greed, desire to ferociously expand, and decisions rooted in self-interest can benefit ourselves in a material sense, but can be very destructive to the hive and the world around us, ultimately hurting ourselves. So we really must consider that if we're going to step into a bright future. As humans, we have an incredible potential, and it would be a shame to throw it away. So community, humanity, and changing our relationship with the natural world so it leans more towards homeostasis must be a priority. Priority number one. If you're watching this and there's a knot tied up in your stomach with bitterness, anger, or hatred for your fellow human being, be with it, feel it, understand it, express it, and then let it go. You're hurting. Give yourself love.
Let it go. That's I'm going to let it go. Yeah, I always had that problem with the idea of Christianity. It's one of the reasons that I'm an atheist, mostly atheist. Like turning the other cheek. I have such problems with the idea of turning the other cheek. Such problems. I have huge problems with the idea of turning the other cheek. That's like especially when the injustices served upon you are oh, but I get what he's coming from. It is correct. However, it's my late grandfather, I was young and my sisters were young, and we would tell him to we would point out some mistakes that he was doing in relationship to life and to people, and how it would be easier for him to choose this way or that way. Then he would just say, in Croatian it rhymes, iz svoje kože se ne može. In translation, it means you cannot escape your own skin. So you can't be someone else. I can't just decide, oh, this doesn't bother me anymore. It's I know that he's correct. I know that it's the right way, but it's wow. I don't know how to. Okay, let's listen more.
And there's a knot tied up in your stomach with bitterness, anger, or hatred for your fellow human being, be with it.
Not anger, not hatred, but an ocean of bitterness, an ocean.
Feel it, understand it, express it, and then let it go. You're hurting. Give yourself love. Forgive yourself and then project that love outwards and the anger will pass. We have a decision in every interaction.
This is all correct, but it's, yeah, you know, Nietzsche, once again, back to Nietzsche. He said that there was only one Christian in the history of humanity, and that he died on a cross, and everyone else failed in his footprints. So, in his footsteps. So this is the way that people should be walking through. But if he's, I suspect that he manages to do it, and he is doing it, and that's remarkable. Maybe one day I can learn it, but as one Klingon chancellor said, "Not today, not today." I appreciate everything, and I agree with his conclusions. It's just, I mean, in comment section, can you guys just follow through on forgiveness and letting go of the bitterness of the injustices that were laid at your feet for no reason at all? Like, can you guys do it? I sure. Oh. Whew.
To tilt the world towards heaven or hell, towards Jannah or Jahannam, utopia or dystopia, and some people's ideas of heaven will be another's image of hell. So tread carefully, but treat those differences with respect. Tapestries are made beautiful because of the variety in the sum of their parts. Thank you to 1 million people inside this rich tapestry for the opportunity for me to try and spread my own vision of what I believe to be good. And thank you for justifying my pain. Thank you. I love you.
What a fantastic human being. What a fantastic human being, folks. What an amazing man. Oh, amazing human being. Folks, I know there at the end, like I signed, I would sign and seal, stamp every single word that it said. It's just the part of letting go of bitterness and accept things as they are. It's that's a tall order, at least for me at the moment. That's a tall order for me, because I will not be getting into some things, but I'm sure everyone watching has had experience with malevolence in other people, and unprovoked malevolence in other people. So letting go of that, it's just it's not a matter of not wanting to do it. It's not, I just don't know how to. However, on everything else, like this is an amazing man. This is like his message, his songs, his thoughts. Like, I would love to have a book by him. You know, he could be. He has to get better. His health has to get better. You know, he's definitely a treasure. He's definitely a treasure. An incredible artist. Wow, absolutely love him. Absolutely love him. So for all my life, so I have had a list of my favorite poets since like I was 15 or 16, and number 2 and number 3 were always William Blake and the Croatian poet Tinojevic, who I most presumably nobody here knows about, because if it's not in English, it doesn't get published in the Western world. Matters not. I am categorizing Ren as a poet, and after everything that I have, at least 20 songs I listened to by him, after 20 songs, I am ready to place him at number 2 of my favorite poets of all times. So he is now number 2. Number 1 is just too personal. It's a Russian poet called Sergei Yesenin, and he cannot be replaced by anyone. It's not a matter of quality. It just means too much to me. But by the way, folks, around the beginning of this year, around January, January the 5th, the 6th, somewhere in the beginning of the year, it's in my channel, if you want to look it up, I translated one poem by Tin Ujevic, and one poem from Croatian to English, and one poem from Russian to English by Sergei Yesenin. And if you want to take a look at the kind of poetry I truly admire, it's in those links. And Ren is definitely he's not only a musician, he's an amazing poet, because all his works are deep and profound with meaning. So absolutely amazing. He is now, and poetry to me is above music. So the fact that he managed to get to number 2 is it's basically like his number 1, because if all poets combined were to merge, nobody can remove Sergei Yesenin from my first spot. It means too much to me. But Ren, wow. I cannot even imagine in 40 years, when after a lifetime of work, how large his all the albums he will do, all the songs that he will write, it will be like the most prolific musician and writer ever. If his health improves, I can see that happening with. It's unavoidable. It's basically unavoidable. Thank you everyone for joining. If you haven't by now, what are you waiting for? Subscribe and like. In the comment section, your thoughts, and thank you everyone, and thank you Ren. Thank you. Keep on, get better, and if you ever watch this, get better, get really much better, and then get your ass writing another 1,000 songs. Thank you everyone, and see you on the next one. Cheers, folks.